do a video of you guys. You guys did a sketch together, so we'll share that in a little bit.
Yes,
but Paul, yeah, you can go to Paul Bennett's. It's paulbennett.com, right?
paulbennettcomedy.com.
paulbennettcomedy.com.
Yeah, I think there's other Paul Bennetts out there.
Are there actually?
I do my Google. I have a Google search for Paul Bennett. There's a Paul Bennett who's done a TED Talk. He's a winner. He's not. He's winning the Paul Bennett race.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of chump Paul Bennetts who are like, an insurance guy. There's one guy who got arrested for doing something you shouldn't do with a mailbox.
Oh, I don't even need to know what he's doing. You're crushing that guy.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's one thing you should do with a mailbox. So there's a big list, but I would love to hear.
There's also con man Paul Bennett in Australia. I think he's the coolest one.
We should do a show where we book only Paul Bennetts.
I think so. I think the con man Paul Bennett, the TED Talk Paul Bennett.
You'd still be on it, but you wouldn't be head.
Paul, you look like one of those guys that works in the control room in TV.
I know.
Right now, like the guys in the trailer, they're like, camera 5.
Where's the father of the bride? Where's the
Houston? We have liftoff.
So how have you been spending your time, Paul? What's been going on?
Just with the family and doing my shows. We're up here in Western Massachusetts. It's cool up here. People are super nice. I'd like to say it has the most banjos per capita in the country because it's a lot of hippies.
No.
Okay, most banjos per capita in the Northeast.
I will give you
How about that? Yeah.
I will do that for sure.
Yeah.
But,
Eric is about to go to war over that one.
Yeah.
I know people in Ohio who have enough banjos to raise the rate higher than what Massachusetts could possibly.
I think this is interesting because we talked about this a little bit just through text, Paul. But the reason why you moved, because you were in New York for, was it a decade doing comedy in New York? How long were you doing comedy?
Yeah, about 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But so why the Massachusetts move?
I have a 2-year-old, and like the idea of spending, like if you don't have a kid, like the idea of quarantine in New York City is like, oh, that's going to be kind of hard to watch Netflix or whatever. But if you've got a 2-year-old, it's just crazy. I've gotten divorced once and I don't want to get divorced again.
So
Paul, that should be our t-shirts. We should get t-shirts that say that and sell.
Yeah.
We've been divorced once. We don't want to be divorced again.
That's great.
Not doing the second time.
I thought we should talk about this too, Paul, because of how many times people confuse us. There's you and me, Jeff, Paul are the ones that I've been called, the three of you, and I've actually been called DC Benny as well. But obviously DC Benny's at a little bit different level than us, or at least than me.
Right.
So it's so funny. So it's kind of weird to be.
Are we? Here's the question: are we also in the Joe Matarese? Is he in our? Or is he just way too successful?
I know. Well, I don't know. It depends on what you count success. Obviously in comedy, and of course they started when they were 19. You and I started later in life.
Right, yeah.
And all that. So I don't know about successful as humans, but yeah, they're just a little farther along in their careers, how I put it, more than successful. But yeah, Joe's the same way. He was, I look at the same thing. We got the gray beards, the receding hair, the thinning hairlines and all that stuff. We're fighting the age dragon, trying to stay in shape, all that stuff. But yeah.
I can relate. People mix up me and Robert all the time.
Yeah. I get Goldberg a lot.
Mm-hmm. Waiter at a comedy club.
I used to get Bill Nye the Science Guy, and then I got a beard, and now I get Aric Rooms.
All right, I'll take that. So
just to add an extra testimony to this this confusion. The therapist sketch, the sketch that we're about to play that Paul and I acted in, Aric was another consideration for the same role in that one.
Yeah, they asked me to do it, and I told them I went at first, and then I just couldn't logistically get back into the city, so they said it. So they found Paul, which Paul did a great job. Matter of fact, let's introduce this. This is a sketch that Robert and Paul did together. So let's Robert, I'll let you introduce it because you know who.
Yeah. So I wanted to play this because we just had he was the producer of this sketch for one of the leaders of the Young Unprofessionals, the sketch group that created the full thing. Joseph Holmes. He was on last week, and we talked about some of the sketches that they put out during quarantine. This was a super fun one that Paul and I recorded a while before quarantine, actually. Their idea was to save up enough. I think they wanted to release like a half dozen or a dozen at a time. And then when lockdown happened, they had time that like, oh, okay, we can edit this and put out content now. So the piece itself, super fun. I'm going to a therapist because my mother is dating again. And then there's Paul is a therapist, and I have some things that I learn about Paul throughout the sketch.
All right, here we go. The therapist.
Yeah. And at that point, I ran out of the house. I just needed a minute to myself, you know?
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was your age, I was actually much younger. My parents split up, and I spent most of my childhood hiding under my bed.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the feeling. It's crazy. My mom's actually been trying to get me to talk to someone about this for like a year at least.
So why now?
She actually just started seeing someone else, and she wants me to work through some of my stuff before I meet the guy.
So has she told you anything about this guy?
Nope.
What he looks like? What he does? Maybe he's like I don't know, a fireman or a scientist or maybe a handsome therapist or something.
No, she hasn't said anything.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do you have water, by the way? I'm a little bit thirsty.
Hi, I'm a little thirsty. I'm Dr. Pearson, your therapist, trying to help you with some issues. Okay. Water.
Thank you.
Hey, I got a good idea of something fun.
Okay.
It's this therapy technique. It's a great technique. It's a little old-fashioned, but hear me out. What we do is that we go outside and we take this ball and we throw it back and forth for a while, and we just talk about stuff.
You mean play catch?
No.
Yeah, you're describing a game of catch.
It's more complicated than that.
Sounds like catch.
It's well, if you don't want to do it, we could just do a simple Rorschach test instead, okay?
Whatever you say, dude.
Did you just call me Dad?
No, I said dude.
I'm pretty sure that you call me Dad.
Pretty sure I know what I said, dude.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's just do this Rorschach test, and I'm just going to show you some ink block slides, and you just tell me the first thing comes to your mind, okay? Okay, what do you see?
Luchador. Water fountain. Werewolf astronaut. Is that a photo of you and my mother?
It's interesting. That's what you think it is. This is how the test works.
No, I'm pretty sure I just saw that. That was a photo of you and my mother.
I can explain. It's very
Go back to that
important
photo.
You should not interrupt me when I'm talking.
Let me see that photo.
Young man, I told you, it's not polite to interrupt people when they're talking. Listen, son.
Whoa, I'm not your son.
Son, it's just a figure of speech, okay? I just want to have this work out, and I'm just trying to help you. And I think we talked about some good things. I think we worked through some things, mano a mano, and maybe we can do this next week. Maybe we could talk about this in mother time.
What?
I meant another time. I was just a Freudian slip. I'm sorry about that. Look, I just want to help you, okay? I just want you to be okay with Heather dating again.
Yeah, no, how do you know my mother's name?
I know her name because she set up the appointment. That's obvious.
Why do I not believe you?
Well, look, son, Mark, I'm just trying to help you, okay? Your mother said you had some unresolved issues with your father, and my only wish is to help you through that. So if you can't work with me, then I can't help you.
You're right. Yeah, maybe I'm paranoid.
Let's just, I think we did a great job this session, so let's just call it a wrap, and then let's pick it up next Saturday, okay? Great.
Sounds good.
Let's go.
Mark, you're a smart guy. I could tell. Just don't let your feelings get in the way of your mom's happiness, okay?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I appreciate that. Thank you, doctor.
That being said, I'm dating your mom. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. I think
That was
my
great.
that was my one improv line. I think I improved that. I'm not sure. I was like, I can play cluelessly arrogant very well. That's very natural for me.
I'm glad to see Robert hasn't changed his shirt since.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Exact same shirt. Oh my God. You're like me. I buy a t-shirt and I ride that thing out.
Well, no, actually, Paul, you one of the things that we talked about last week whenever we had Joe on was how tricky that role was to be the therapist there, because he wanted to find someone who could portray still a sympathetic character, like someone who's like, you're a literal motherfucker in the sketch, but somehow the audience still comes out on your side. And I think you did that very well.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah.
So Paul, what do you want to plug? What do you?
Yeah, I do my monthly comedy shows are online. I was doing them in person and it was going great and that was a lot of fun. And I was like, whoa, I could, make this into a thing, and I could start to be a comic. And then the pandemic hit. And then I have 2 family shows I do every month and I just moved them online and, we're doing okay. Last one sold out. We just kind of do these monthly shows. That went well. And we're learning. I have no idea what I'm doing. Some parent was on recently. She's like, I want to learn how to, entertain kids. And I'm like, I don't know either. Tell me, but it's for families. It's not just kids. And we have a great time.
Well, I brought my daughter there.
Friendly show. I know you were doing this in person at Crake in the Cave for a while in the city. And I don't know if I ever asked that question. Why family friendly?
Because I have kids and I was like, well, I have to do something. How do I get to do comedy on Dad Weekend? That's what it started with.
Perfect. Dorothy co-hosted with you for a long time. She
did, yeah, for a long time. She's not doing it now in the Zoom time, or at least I haven't recruited her to do it yet. But she was doing it. She's been great. She learned, she was like ad-libbing. She's been hosting a comedy show for 5 years every month from age 7 to 12. How insane is that? Like, it's crazy. But then when I started, yeah, go ahead. What's that?
I said that's almost half her life as
yeah.
New York City comedy show host.
And then I started one in Manhattan, which was like super. It didn't, first couple shows, it wasn't like, it was kind of a puttering along, and all of a sudden, boom! It was like, oh, this location is so much better than Queens. Like once kind of word got out, and what's that?
Where in Manhattan? What was the Manhattan spot?
We were doing it at the Village Lantern.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I remember in your last comedy show, you said, "Hey, this is the show. It's sold out." I'm like, "Yeah." So I shared it, and I said, "I want to show how good Paul Bennett's doing, and also show you something else you can't do."
You were producing some shows at Greenwich for a while too.
I was.
We worked together a lot. Yeah,
we did. My favorite moment was when you said, "Oh, you do comedy," and I was like, "Yes, I do comedy."
No.
He asks me that all the time. Don't be afraid. He asks me that like twice a week.
No, his first couple shows he didn't get on stage, or I think there was a couple where somebody else ran it for him.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, you're a comedian also. Got it.
Paul, this has been great. I wish we could see you in person. Can't wait till that can happen again. And go to paulbennettcomedy.com and learn more about his shows, especially if you have kids. I've been there, had Chloe. We went to one a while back, and just Dorothy's great. You're just doing a great thing, man. Glad to have you on the show, and we'll hope to see you in person real soon.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Great seeing you.
I want to know what Robert is drinking.